Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. This video, we're making about James Harden, I've heard about Dwight Howard over the years, is he a bad teammate and all this. So, I'm going to look into James Harden and see, I'm not gonna go full on hate mode on him. But I'm just going to put it out there, is James Harden a bad teammate, He's had so many superstar and all-star level teammates over the last 6 years. Never got out of the West. A few reasons for that. The Warriors doesn't help, I suppose. But, all these superstars have moved on, but one thing has stayed the same, and that's James Harden. Now, of course, right now he wants to leave Houston. He's kicking and screaming trying to get out of there. I heard a couple of days ago that he threw a ball in the direction of a rookie, a basketball. So he seems pissed off at the moment. Seems to be people think he's crying about it. Some people think he's right to want to go. I think he should. John Wall and Boogie Cousins, they're two more all-star level teammates if they get back to their best. So I don't see what the problem is with James Harden. And if I'm to fit 76ers, I'm not giving up Ben Simmons for him either. That's for sure. No way am I giving up Ben Simmons for him. 7 years younger, he's got. But if Ben Simmons could just, if he's more aggressive to the rim, 30 points for sure, he could do a lot. And I would not give up him for James Harden. But Daryl Morey loves James Harden after his Rockets days, so I wouldn't rule that out at all. But anyway, is James Harden a bad teammate? We all know James Harden is one of the best scorers of all time. Whether you like him or not, you love him or hate him, he's still one of the best scorers of all time. Can't deny it. But he's never made an NBA Finals in Houston. Of course, OKC he did. But he's had some real all-star level teammates. He's had Dwight Howard, CP3, and Russell Westbrook. Now, Dwight Howard right now isn't all-star level, but back when he got him, it was after that poor year in Los Angeles. But he's still an all-star level player. He was declining, yep, for sure, and that's why we'll get into Dwight Howard and Harden's era first, actually. But Harden's had all three of them all-star level players shipped off at some stage, and he's got new ones in. So at some stage, I think you gotta blame James Harden. How can three of these players not work out? But anyway, we'll start off with the James Harden and Dwight Howard era. Now this ran from 2013-14 season to the 15-16 season. So they had 3 years at it. In 13-14, they made the first round of the playoffs. In 14-15, they made the Western Finals. And 15-16, the first round again. So up and down. Now, let's get into their stats first. 13-14, during the regular season, Harden averaged 25 points per game, 6.1 assists per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, shooting 36% from 3 and 45% from the field. So pretty good stats, Not James Harden levels right now, but you can see he's getting there. And Dwight Howard, he averaged 18.3 points per game, 1.8 blocks per game, and 12.3 rebounds per game. So they're good stats as well, That's what I'm saying. It's not Orlando Dwight, but it's still not washed up Dwight at all. In the playoffs then, as I said when we made the first round, but James averaged 26.8 points per game, 5.4 assists per game, and 4.7 rebounds per game, while shooting 29% from 3 and 37.6% from the field. James Harden, he's had a reputation of flopping in the playoffs, choking, you can say. But this season, you can see where it come from. His 3-point shooting is down, and his field goal percentage is down for sure. And then Dwight in the playoffs in 13-14, he averaged 26 points per game, 2.8 blocks, and 13.7 rebounds per game. So Dwight, he improved in the playoffs. Dwight, I think he outshone James Harden in the playoffs, in my opinion. He got his blocks went up, points went up, and rebounds went up. So you can't blame Dwight for 13-14. It's from them on where the problems start, I think. Even 14-15. So I said you can't blame Dwight for what happened 13-14. He stepped up in the playoffs, Harden didn't. And let's get into 14-15 then. During the regular season, James Harden, he went up this season, averaging 27.4 points per game, 7 assists per game, and 5.7 rebounds per game, shooting 37.5% from 3 and 44% from the field. So another productive season for James. And Dwight, on the other hand, he went down this season, only scoring 15.8 points per game, 1.3 blocks per game, and 10.5 rebounds per game. So you can see Dwight, he's having injury problems, struggling to fit in with Houston at this stage, and his stats are going down. Then the playoffs, obviously they made the Western Conference Finals, where they lost to the Warriors. But Harden, he averaged 27.2 points per game in the playoffs, 7.5 assists per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, shooting 38% from 3 and 43% from the field. While Dwight averaged 16.4 points per game, 2.3 blocks, and 14 rebounds. So once again, Dwight improved in the playoffs. Harden, on the other hand, Harden did well. He held his own in the playoffs this offseason. So you can't blame either of them. And they made it to the Western Conference Finals, so there's no problems there. And 15-16 with a problem start really. They get bounced in the first round again. And during the regular season, James went up again, averaging 29 points per game, 7.5 assists per game, and 6.1 rebounds per game. So he showed what he can do, shooting 35% from 3 and 43% from the field. So Harden's had a good regular season in 15-16. As for Dwight, he's going down again, only averaging 13.7 points per game, 1.6 blocks, and 11 rebounds per game. Then in the playoffs, Harden, he averaged 26.6 points per game, 7 assists per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, shooting 31% from 3 and 41% from the field. So Harden's gone down again in the playoffs. He's up and down. This playoffs, 15-16, he's regressed from his regular season performance. And as for Dwight Howard, he averaged 13.2 points per game, 1.4 blocks, and 14 rebounds. So Dwight stayed the same really. Overall, in the Dwight and James Harden era, I don't blame Harden that much. Dwight just wasn't the same as he was in Orlando. The Lakers, all the injuries he had in Los Angeles, they had a good year 15-16, and 13-14 Dwight played well. So this 15-16 let him down. The chemistry issues, I suppose, and that Dwight can't take all the blame for that. Chemistry issues isn't all Dwight's fault. As I said, Dwight was struggling with injuries, and his type of centre was just coming outdated in the NBA at that stage. He couldn't shoot threes, just a typical big man. But Harden, I'm not going to give him too much blame for that, for the Dwight era, But he has to take some of the blame. It's the CP3 era now we're going on to next, which I think he should be taking more responsibility. 17-18 then. He went 16-17 out of start, so 17-18, Chris Paul came in, and the Chris Paul, James Harden era begun. This 17-18, he averaged 30.4 points per game, 8.8 assists per game, and 5.4 rebounds per game. So Harden now, he's getting up to the All-Star level, MVP level performances, shooting 36% from 3 and 44% from the field. So pretty impressive. CP3 on the other hand, he averaged 18.6 points per game, 7.9 assists per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, shooting 38% from 3 and 46% from the field. This is Harden's team right now. CP3 is getting on a bit, but he's still bringing a lot to the team. He's bringing a lot to the table, experience, 3-point shooting, pick and rolls, he's bringing a lot. Then in the playoffs, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and this is their best chance of making the finals. They had the Warriors on the ropes, but then CP3 got injured and they ended up losing in Game 7, I think. If Chris Paul would have stayed healthy, they would have won this series, I think, and probably would have won the finals. That Lakers team was pretty poor. That Cavaliers team was pretty poor. But injuries happened, Chris Paul got injured, and James Harden couldn't finish the job for him. In the playoffs, James averaged 28 points per game, 6.8 assists per game, and 5.2 rebounds per game, shooting 29% from 3 and 41% from the field. So straight away, you'd notice Harden's 3-point shooting is going down, and he's underperforming a bit. In the playoffs then for Chris Paul, he averaged 21 points per game, 2 steals, 5.8 assists per game, and 5.9 rebounds per game. So Chris Paul is staying pretty consistent. He's not dropping down, shooting 37% from 3 and 45% from the field. So Chris Paul, good playoff 17-18, and don't hang your head in shame, CP3, for that. 18-19 then, another Western Conference Finals appearance, but this time it was more comprehensive for the Warriors. Harden during regular season 18-19 shot 36.1 points per game, 7.5 assists per game, and 6.6 rebounds per game. That's MVP caliber stats, shooting 36.8% from 3 and 44% from the field. So Harden during regular season, unbelievable as usual. That's incredible, averaging 36 points per game, unbelievable. So you can't put any blame on James Harden for that. Then in the playoffs, Harden, he averaged 31.6 points per game, 6.6 assists per game, and 6.9 rebounds per game. So he's not choking. He's not choking me. No, he's not. This is a good playoffs for him, I think. He also shot 35% from 3 and 41% from the field. And as for CP3 in the playoffs, he averaged 17 points per game, 2.2 steals per game, 5.5 assists per game, and 6.4 rebounds per game, shooting 27% from 3 and 44% from the field. Pretty good stats. Just a 3-point shooting let him down a bit. But Harden, 18-19, they had chemistry problems. Harden and CP3 weren't getting along. Harden was getting sick of CP3 at that stage. We all saw that huddle when CP3 went for the fist pump and Harden just shoved his hand away. And I just think that was a mistake for Harden to get rid of CP3 for sure. The CP3 and James Harden era was the most successful era in James Harden's time in Houston. In 17-18, as I said, if CP3 didn't get injured, I think they're NBA champions. And 18-19 didn't go as well with them. Chemistry issues came again. Harden and CP3 were clashing, and Harden would would want CP3 out. Now, when the CP3 and Westbrook trade happened, most people thought it was a bad trade for Houston. How would Westbrook fit in with a Houston Rockets style? And they ended up being proved right. But why did Harden get rid of CP3? This is why I think Harden is a bad teammate. This is the most high profile incident, you know. Why did he get rid of CP3? Yes, you don't want to be best friends off the court, but Chris Paul was having a positive impact on the court. He had a better impact than Chris Westbrook, we'll get on to in a minute, and better than Dwight Howard. He just moved amongst, he didn't get on with him, and that's why I think he's a bad teammate, you know. If he needs to put the team first over his friendship. He didn't get Chris Paul, that's fine. But you know, Chris Paul could have stayed there, and they could have had another crack at it this year. Anyway, in the 1920 season, Westbrook came in, and so became the James Harden and Russell Westbrook era, and that began. 1920, James Harden, another successful regular season. He averaged 34 points per game, 7.5 assists per game, and 6.6 rebounds per game, shooting 35% from 3 and 44% from the field. So another typical James Harden regular season, you know, MVP caliber stats. Russell Westbrook, on the other hand, he had a respectable regular season, averaging 27.2 points per game, 7 assists per game, 7.9 rebounds per game. So, you know, a walking triple-double Russell Westbrook is. So, you know, he's almost having triple-double numbers again, shooting 25% from 3 and 47% from the field. The 3-point shooting was the biggest problem. The Rockets didn't shoot any mid-range jumpers, which is one of Westbrook's biggest strengths. They shot, you know, it's either threes or drive to the rim. They're both ball handlers, him and Harden, and just never worked out. In the playoffs, they got to the second round where they lost to the Lakers, but they scraped through Chris Paul's OKC actually, only winning in Game 7. In the playoffs, Harden averaged 29.6 points per game, 7.7 assists per game, and 5.6 rebounds per game, shooting 33% from 3 and 47% from the field. But as for Westbrook, he really disappointed in the playoffs. He had a poor playoffs for Westbrook. He was injured for most of the first round. But in the Lakers series, I watched all the games. He was pretty poor. Averaging 17.9 points per game, 4.6 assists per game, and 7 rebounds per game, shooting 24% from 3 and 42% from the field. So all his stats went down. This was a poor fit from the get-go. People had questions. He was only brought in really because him and James Harden get on very well off the court. This wasn't a good move for the team. You know, Westbrook clearly didn't fit in well with the team. Mike D'Antoni would have known that, and the Houston hierarchy should have known that. You know, Chris Paul was a better fit with this team, and Chris Paul made the All-Star team last year, and he showed he still got it. So I think Harden should have just, you know, put his friendships aside, what's good for the team, but he didn't do that. And this was the worst fit with Harden. Westbrook was even worse than Dwight Howard era. You know, second round of playoffs, very lucky to get there. Russ can't shoot threes, and it just didn't work. Westbrook, he moved on to DC this offseason in a John Wall trade, and now John Wall is the latest high-profile All-Star, whatever they call him, teammate of James Harden. Now we're going to see how long this will last, because Harden, as I said at the start of the video, wants out of Houston right now. But you know, it doesn't look likely. Miami, unless the Rockets lower his trade value, I don't see him going anywhere. Brooklyn have stepped away from the deal. Miami look like they've stepped away from the deal. It's either Philadelphia or no one really. And Philadelphia, if I'm them, I'm telling you now, don't get rid of Ben Simmons. He's your future. Just, you know, work on improving Ben Simmons. You don't need James Harden, that's for sure. And I think I don't know, obviously. I don't know if he's a bad teammate, but from the outside looking in, I think he looks like a bad teammate, you know. He looks like he's about him first. He's not putting the team first. That's what it looks like, you know. James Harden first, then Houston Rockets. That's never a good sign. And especially this season, he looks like a bad influence in the dressing room, toxic environment, whatever you want to call it. We've all heard about those special privileges he got, you know, staying overnight, partying while all the rest of the team went back to Houston when they were going away. But so Harden looks like, you know, he got spoiled in Houston. Now he wants out of Houston. I think James Harden has taken a lot of responsibility for this not working out. They could have easily made an NBA Finals one of these years. 17-18, 18-19, the Warriors were on the ropes. 18-19, they had injuries. 17-18, CP3 and Harden had them on the ropes. So I think James Harden has taken a lot of responsibility for this not working out in Houston. He's had 3 All-Star level caliber teammates. John Wall's gonna be 4. And if all of them go, well, 3 of them are gone now, and only 1 person remains, and that's James Harden. So that says it already. Anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribe if you're new especially. That would always help. Turn on notifications, and yeah, with all that said, I'm out here.